Hey everyone, I'm back with another review. I watched Shazam yesterday. I don't know if people still care about this movie because it came out a while ago, but I only just watched it and I do want to review it because I'm actually surprised at how much I enjoyed this movie. DC really are trying to take this new direction. I'm very happy. These movies are overall a lot more enjoyable. But anyway, I'm going to start off today with I'm going to try a different format, right? So last review I kind of just mumbled the whole way through Captain Marvel. This time I'm going to try shorten it down, have a non-spoiler section, and then a later segment where there's spoilers. It's a bit later now, so it's fine to talk about spoilers. I'm sure most people who will want to see it have seen it. So long story short, I'm going to get into it. So first of all, the biggest thing about this movie is that it is genuinely fun. Like genuinely, it's just a good time, right? And honestly, even Aquaman, it was pretty fun, but like it felt a bit much, right? But I have to say, Shazam, for the first time in a while, I came out of a DC movie going, I didn't have to like take a breath of fresh air when I came out, you know. I wasn't like, oh god. But no, with this, I came out, I was like, man, that was actually really fun. And it definitely has issues, you know. It has a relatively weak villain in terms of his motivations. I have my list here, I'm sorry, because I have a memory of a fruit fly. So weak motivations for the villain. It's quite cheesy in some of its dialogue, but we'll get into that a bit later on. And there's actually, even though I just said it's quite cheesy throughout, there's also weird contrasts with extremely dark moments. Like honestly, for the rest of the tone of this movie, these moments really come out and just hit you a lot harder than they should. But again, I want to reiterate, it's just such good fun. It really is a comic book movie, you know. It genuinely, I don't know, like even the story, from all the trailers, you know, this isn't necessarily a spoiler, but you know, a kid becoming a superhero, it's like the ultimate power fantasy, right? I think they did an incredible job on it. There's a surprising amount of emphasis. The thing is, I say surprising. It's surprising because it's DC. I don't think DC would really go so deep on this. Because you should with a Shazam movie, because the character is a child becoming a superhero every now and then, like as an adult, right? But seriously, there's so much emphasis on the idea of a child being a superhero, to such a point that you, like Zachary Levi, he really sells, I don't know, he almost too well, almost like plays too young than the child actor maybe. But regardless of, seriously man, it was just a moment of relief to see that DC are actually having fun with this great catalogue of characters that they actually have. So as we know from the trailers and all the previous footage, Billy Batson is a foster child and he is in foster care. Now what that means is he's surrounded by a family of people that are around the same age as him, right? And seriously, I'm surprised they developed these side characters so much, right? They honestly established all these individual children and really gave them their own personalities, you know, like even though they might be a bit simple, but hey, this is honestly something that the DC movies liked. Perhaps they've been trying to go almost too deep with their character developments, traits that are a bit too intricate, but you know, this was simple and sweet. You have the really young one who's incredibly innocent, there's a gamer, there's a girl who's going to college and is just struggling with, you know, the notion of leaving their family, there's a silent one, you know, all these things, right? And they actually play into the development of not only Billy Batson, but the whole film. I don't really want to spoil anything, but these characters really do stand alongside Billy, you know. They really support him as a family, and I'm very glad that I left Shazam wanting to see more of a whole group of people and not just, okay, just give me Shazam with Justice League. I'm actually looking forward to a Shazam film of all these characters again. And of course, with all the promotional material, the main foster sibling, I guess, I don't really know how to say it, is the curly head kid, Freddy, with the walking stick, the crutch. And honestly, yeah, I mean, I do think he did a good job. he was a bit annoying to me personally at sometimes, but I think that's kind of the point. He is meant to be a character that not only annoys the main character, but you as the audience need to understand, okay, he means well, but he is quite overwhelming. I'm not trying to excuse the film or anything if he is just a poorly written thing or anything like that, but I genuinely do believe they wanted us to think, okay, chill out, Freddy. Yeah, just give it a break. And if anything, I think the acting dynamic, the actual dynamic between Freddy and adult Billy, so Shazam, was better than Freddy and Kid Billy. I don't know if Kid Billy was really trying to go for a certain emo take on Billy, you know, because it is a relatively sad upbringing he's been through. But Zachary Levi, he really is extremely energetic when he's Shazam. Like, almost like if you had to pretend to be an excited kid, that seemed to be the direction given to him. And I'm not even saying it's necessarily bad, because when you are a kid, ultimately you're a kid. And if you get superpowers, no matter how emo you are, you're probably gonna get like absolutely amped for it. You know, so it's hard for me to really say, you know, to discuss the psychology of children and superpowers. I'm not very educated on that. But yeah, no, whether it be the actual ability of the actors themselves, I do believe that Zachary Levi did mesh a lot better with Freddy. Then I don't even know the name of the child Billy. I should have probably looked it up. I apologise. But no, Freddy, even and honestly, he also, like to this movie's credit, man, it really does surprise me with how much influence these children had, and especially Freddy, on, I can't believe I'm saying it, on the character arc of the main hero. You know, this movie has a character arc for Billy, and it's not just for Billy, it's influencing the whole movie and the movie's I don't want to keep saying I'm surprised, because Jesus, these are more like much more qualified people to make movies than me, but it was so relieving to see a DC movie just actually do something worthwhile, you know, something that I'm seeing in the cinema and I don't feel like I'm just trying to get to the final climax, right? So yeah, there is an actual hero's journey in this film. I'll go into it a bit more in the spoiler section, but essentially Billy's going through rough times as any child would in foster care. And you know, he gets given these powers, and it's like all of a sudden you have this ability to just do what you want, you know? And it's sort of this subject of, hey, I can now get what I want, but do I actually know what I want, you know? And Freddy actually sort of acts as a pillar in a moment of weakness for Billy, in that it's a mental weakness. You know, Billy thinks he knows what he wants, but at the same time, when you're just that overwhelmed by your power, you need to be grounded by something. Okay, so I'm obviously praising this movie a lot, but I think it's more because I was just in shock with how much I didn't not like it, if that makes sense. So I've kind of like just bounced back really hard, but no, there are definitely things that are pretty, not appalling, and I think it's mainly because of the tone of the film that these issues are excusable. The villain, like, unfortunately a lot of these superhero movies, they are going to suffer these issues. I don't know why. I guess obviously you either have to develop a hero who's going to be the same person for 4 movies, or you develop a villain who's going to die in the same film. I guess it's just a gamble you have to, not even a gamble, it's just a decision you have to make early on in these processes. But to quickly discuss the villain, he's just angry. He's just very angry and upset. I will go over it again a bit more in spoilers. But he's just an extremely angry and vengeful man. But it kind of works. Like, I don't know. Like, obviously, it's not like unclear that his motivations are bad or like very shallow. But because he's so evil for almost no explicable reason, because it contrasts so heavy with the tone of the rest of the movie, which is very lighthearted and comical, and he's just so evil. Everything he does is evil. I'm not going to say what he does, but he does horrible things. Oh, he's bad. He's this, he's that. when he sees bad things happen, he doesn't care, you know, it wants you to know this bad man. This is bad man, you know? I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and say he's like the Joker reincarnate, but it kind of works. I don't know. I could see it wasn't good, but it wasn't necessarily a problem. And you know, yeah, I'm going to wrap up this segment of the video, and I'm just really going to say, overall, it was a nice move away from Snyder DC, and the thing is, I do appreciate Zack Snyder. You know, I feel bad for the unfortunate thing that happened to his family at the peak of Justice League and such, but it is a breath of fresh air, you know? I understood the tone they were trying to go for early on, because obviously you have Marvel being a accumulation of loads of light-hearted movies, so really the market was open for a more serious take on these superhero movies, but I think they got caught in an unfortunate middle ground. So for them to just make a decision that, okay, we're just gonna do this now, like, we're just losing out on money, we're losing out on great actors, like Henry Cavill, for example. Well, I don't know what he's doing, but they had to just make these decisions. Yeah, I don't know, even the people working on the project seem to be having fun with it, and that does come through in the film. I personally do feel this is better than Aquaman. It takes itself a little less seriously than Aquaman, which I feel this movie needed. However, what I will say, even though it is a lot less serious, a lot more comical, much more lighthearted, unfortunately I do feel that after one viewing, the charm of the movie will wear off quickly. I watched it in the cinema, and I was very happy to see it in the cinema. I didn't have any regrets. I know some people might be thinking that have seen it might think differently. Personally, I did enjoy it in the cinema. Am I gonna watch it again? Like, on my own accord, I want to see this movie? I don't think so. Will I buy it? I don't think so. Like when it releases in home. Releases in home? I won't be buying a home release. And that's just an unfortunate byproduct of making a movie like this, unfortunately. That's very surface. But hey, it's a good ride. If you haven't seen it, I do suggest you see it. I think it's, with Aquaman and now this, I can see a good direction. So, thank you for sticking around. If you are here, you probably want to hear about spoilers. So, I'm essentially going to quickly just blaze through how the movie runs. Literally starts off with the villain being introduced. He's like being scolded by his older brother and his father, being told he's not a man, etc. In the middle of all this, he actually meets the wizard, the same wizard that Billy Batson meets, and we've seen in all the trailers. So this is the first time we see the wizard. Wizard doesn't deem him worthy. Villain spends the whole life regretting this moment and wants to see that wizard again to prove him wrong. That's it. That's the hero's motivation. So he's like, what, 8 when he meets the wizard? And he comes back when he's 40 and he is angry, right? He spends all this, I don't know, it doesn't explain where he gets this money from. His family seem to be rich, I don't know, but he's funding all this research. The research eventually makes progress, and he meets the wizard again through portals and magic, and he gets this evil power of the 7 sins, the 7 deadly sins that are being locked away by the wizard. He just gets the power, that's it, he's strong now. Bad man is strong. Billy, we eventually go over to Billy after this, and he's going back and forth with foster care because he keeps running away because he's looking for his real mum. You find out that Billy actually got separated from his mum in a fair in a very weird, just not even an accident, just in a crowd of people. This comes actually after just getting a toy from his mum, which is a compass. And the mum just says, oh look, if you use this you can always find your way home. He doesn't, spoiler. Eventually he just keeps running away from places, gets put in a new foster care home, which is where you meet everyone. Doesn't like the kids, ends up getting powers, and then everything in the trailer happens. Right, everyone saw the trailers. Now, when he meets the kids, it's very clear that he doesn't like the kids. the actual progression of seeing him slowly change his mind to like the idea of accepting a new family is really enjoyable. You know, as I mentioned earlier in the non-spoiler section, they are a surprisingly important aspect of this movie, and I'm very happy they decided to go that route to make lovable, memorable characters. And seriously, the things they do as Shazam, like when Freddy and Billy find out this thing is profitable, I guess, I don't know, it's weird, they start busking, but I don't know, it is all genuinely kind of fun. So it's like, what, I know that sounds old, but it's like what you would do as a kid, you know. It is generally like they try to buy beer and instantly regret it because beer is disgusting, you know, it's things like that. I'm 22 years old and I hate beer, you know. And then so all of that in the trailer happens. The villain, this is the crazy part, this is the extremely crazy dark part that seriously I all I'm gonna say is I was expecting this from Venom, right? And Venom disappointed me, but this is genuinely what I thought Venom would be, and I couldn't believe it. There's literally a segment where the villain, after gaining his new sin powers, right, he approaches his father, who is running a board meeting and is the head of an industry, who is also there with the brother. Yo, he unleashes the sins and decimates the whole table. All of them are... These sins, by the way, are like monsters. They just look like big, massive monster goblins. There's literally a moment where one of the sins just grabs one and just eats a head. Like, you don't see him rip the head off, but you see him put the head in the mouth and close, and then you see the body fly away. But we didn't even see that in Venom, a 15, and this is a 12A. They go on to destroy everyone else in the room. The villain throws his brother out of a window, and then after he kills everyone in the boardroom except for the father cries for help, which is a callback to the beginning. It's not very subtle, it's just very obvious. You did this to me when I was a kid, I'm doing it to you now. And he patronizes him, and he just kills his dad. Very evil man. This is very evil villain. Okay, with sins. He's so evil, he has the sins on him. This is the weird thing about this movie, because everything is so lighthearted and comical and great and fun and kids, lovely. And then there's throwing men out of windows and eating heads off and seeing it, you know? I remember in the title card, like before, when it shows you the age rating, it says horror, and I was like, horror? What's gonna be horror? I wasn't scared, but man, it was like, there's like from the outside of the room, you see all the bodies on the doors and stuff, man, very shocking, right? And honestly, I'm happy they're taking risks like this, because even though I love Marvel and stuff, sometimes you feel there could be more risks, or there could be something a bit more shocking, and hey, I mean, if DC are gonna be the ones to do it, I'm happy. This is also where we kind of realise that the sins are just controlling him. I mean, obviously the sins are going to have their own intentions, but they're very obviously controlling this man. And then they tell him to kill Shazam, who is the champion, right? And they realise, okay, he's bad. The sins just want the power for themselves. But now, as I mentioned, Billy and Freddy are busking for their powers. And so, like, they're both benefiting from the powers, but then there's a really awkward moment where Freddy just forces Billy to, like, appear, right? Like, it's similar to when in the Spider-Man movie they say, oh, Spider-Man's gonna come and be at the party. Peter knows Peter knows Spider-Man, we'll bring him to the party. Freddy's like, oh, I know Shazam, I'll bring him to lunch tomorrow so he can be cool in front of kids. Long story short, Billy's kind of like, yo, they're not your powers, you can't control me. On the day of the lunch, Billy doesn't turn up and just keeps busking on his own. Freddy finds him and has a go at him for not coming there to lunch and tells Billy he's being selfish. But they were both being selfish. This is a bit that confused me in the movie. They are both being incredibly selfish, so I don't understand why he's lecturing him about just not turning up for lunch because he didn't help him once. I don't know, I thought that was a bit weird, but anyway, Shazam does lightning, hits a bus is falling off the road, he saves the bus, is happy, and then that's when Freddy gives Billy a big lecture saying, oh, but look, you're just, yeah, sure you saved them, but you're just being a dick, arguing kids. While they're arguing, villain arrives, and literally there's a fight. Billy can't win, so he runs, right? Freddy is then captured, and in that time, Billy runs away back to the house, and the kids all tell him, oh, we found your mum, because they can hack FBI records, because he's a gamer and Chinese, so he's a nerd and can hack. I love the explanation. It was he plays Watch Dogs, and so he can hack into the FBI. But to be fair, I appreciate there was at least some sort of semblance to pop culture reference, like relatively modern pop culture as well. He goes to his mum, and you find out that his mum actually saw him when he disappeared. This is the big reveal, the twist, I suppose. He's finally found that thing he's looking for, but the thing doesn't want him. Right, so she lost him and actually saw the police holding him and decided to leave him with the police because they could care for him better. And then the kicker comes when he realizes this and decides, okay, I'm going to go back to my real family. Here, take this toy back. It was the compass she gave him. She obviously replies with, what's this? Very cold. It was actually quite a nice moment. Well, I'm not a horrible human being. It was a nice moment in a bad way. He obviously just goes, oh, whatever, walks off. And then basically the final act commences. He has to go save, through various things, he has to help the kids who are being attacked by the evil man. They end up fighting in a fair. And then, the big, huge moment that I'm so glad they didn't give away in all the trailers. Finally, DC learned how to just hold back everything. Well, not everything, but hold back a lot. I'm very glad the trailer just kept showing the same clip 50 times. In an attempt to trick the evil man who wants the Shazam powers, he instead gives the Shazam powers to all his siblings and gives each of them one power of the Shazam name. And it was just so fun to see this on screen, and this is the reason that I was so happy with how important the kids were, because there's even that payoff at the end of like, wow, so they're not just fun, but they're actually going to be involved with this hero work, you know, this beautiful like moment of him not only just accepting his family, but even sharing this amazing power with them. And I think that's the line of news, like, what's the point of having power if you can't share it? And honestly, there's just such a great fight. Well, it's not that great, but there's some I think it's a great fight more in just the emotion of it, because all these kids are getting their powers again. You're seeing kids get powers again, and I don't know, it's quite endearing because the kids have issues, and one's quite fat and he becomes super strong, the kid gets super speed. One of the girls kind of loses out because she just gets the smartness power, and that doesn't do anything. You're just smart. And when you're fighting sins, there's not a lot that can do, unfortunately. But hey, ultimately, that was a great moment for me. But anyway, that's more or less the end of it. And honestly, I just hope that DC see these movies as successful and keep making them, because honestly I really do like them, giving a lot more creativity, I feel, as well, to the actual directors and writers to go off on their own and do something fun and interesting. I will end this with just a little point. There is a small cameo with Superman right at the end. They do the lunch again to show that Freddy knows Shazam, and then Shazam says, oh, and I brought someone else along. It's Superman, but it's cut here. You don't see the face. I'm just sad because this might mean they're not sure what's happening with Henry. I hope that Henry also sees the success of these movies and decides to come back with Superman and is reassured that his property will probably be handled with a bit more care. But yeah, I think I did a lot less mumbling this video, and I'm very happy about that, even though it's quite long. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm getting better at this, and I'm going to keep making these, and they're going to keep getting better. Bye.